Hey everybody, Steven here, and for today's video I'm going to cover how to use the Shinbox, or the figure 4 is another name for it, or campfire seats, to get up off the ground without using your hands. So I did a video showing you how to get off the ground using your hands. Eventually we want to progress into not using our hands. So that's a good indicator for our flexibility, mobility, and strength and stability that we have. So if you don't know what a figure 4 campfire seats Shinbox is, this is it. This foot is stacked on top of this leg here. I want to be upright. If you're very, very tight in your hips, you'll actually slouch a lot, right? For those people, you might actually have to just put a hand on the ground. You're going to want to watch my other video, and I'll have that linked at the end of this video and in the description box, showing you how to just do the figure 4 or the Shinbox. And some of the progressions that you can use to eventually get to the point where you don't need to use your hands. Now I can still do the get up using my hands, and I'll show you that also. You also just want to progress to eventually not needing the hands at all. So once I'm here though, right, what I'm going to want to do is I'm actually going to reach out at an angle from my body here. I'm going to reach and I'm going to pull in, and as I do that, I'm actually going to pull my weight forward and I'm going to raise up to my knees. Boom. Now I'm up here like this. You actually feel a lot of stretch in the hips here. And if it's a strength issue, you might just practice this movement, right? I can do this technically for reps. Good for the hips, for the glutes. Just pulling that up like this, okay? Now, once I am here, what I'm gonna do is bring this back leg forward, and I wanna be here. Once I'm here, I'm actually stacked. So both my hips are facing this way, meaning I'm not like this where I have this knee facing that way and that knee facing this way. My hips are kind of going like this. I want that in alignment here, okay? Once I'm there, I'll load that back foot, and then all I actually have to do is lunge out of this position and stand up. Now, reversing all of that, I'm going to take that same leg that I pulled forward here, I'm going to drive it back, bringing the knee to the ground. I'll tuck the foot, and this is the hard part, and this is where it requires a lot of strength and stability. I'm going to pick up this foot and I'm actually going to wrap this knee back around, right? So that it ends up right in front of or underneath that foot, okay? So as I pick up here, I'm going to go back, place this down here, and then I'm just going to sit down. You might notice that the foot touches first, that's fine. Set that knee down gently. If you're struggling with this, one of the things that I'll actually notice is that people just slam their knee down, and we don't want that, right? We want to make sure that we have a lot of structure to this so we don't hurt ourselves. Once I'm here, that was it. And then I can actually switch to the other side, right? And in that other Shinbox video, 2 different ways that we typically do this is what I show you. One is we can just do the pickup and exchange, right? Which requires more mobility here. Or I can simply just roll like this, which is good for warming up the hips. But once I'm here like this, I'll reach, pull those hips forward, bring that knee forward like this. I can stand up and then just reverse that movement, right? Pull back around here, down slow. My recommendation, including, if I'm going to incorporate this into a workout or a program, I'm usually doing 3 to 6 per side, progressing eventually to holding on to something. So I can hold on to a kettlebell or a weight, sandbag, whatever. I could load it on my shoulder, I could hold a med ball, and I could go through this, because this is where we're actually going to take this movement and apply it, and this is where it becomes functional to your everyday life. Getting up off the ground where I'm actually carrying something, whether that's maybe a baby or a small child, something that is actually very, very precious to you, whatever it may be, or if you've hurt yourself, right? I've dislocated my arm before, and I've been in this position where I then have to use this to get up, right? Because my arm can't move, and I'm not going to try and just let it dangle down because I don't want to hurt it again. So I'll actually hold on my arm, raise up like this, and I can come out of that position, okay? Another thing that I like to do, so once you progress from, all right, we're just doing the movement, to, hey, we're adding a little bit of load, still sticking within that like 3 to 6, if you want to call them reps per side. I usually alternate. You can stick with one side, but I usually like to alternate. The other thing that I want to do is actually go through the movement using as much control as I can. Meaning once I go here, right, I'll shift my hip back, and I can pick up this leg, and then I'm going to go slow through this movement, right? Find a little bit more balance, stability through this leg, down, control, right? And MoveNat, we say speed, heights, and efficiencies. Unless it's an explosive power movement, right? Like a powerlifting movement, like a clean and press, a snatch, something like that. I like to take movements, slow everything down. We can figure out where the kinks are in your armor with that movement, and then we can address that. Versus, most of the time what I'm seeing is, whether that's with not only myself, because I've done before until this last 4 or 5 years where I've started dissecting all these movements, but with my clientele and with people that I see just at the gym, you're speeding through the portion that you're struggling with because your brain's wanting to get through that as quick as possible to mask the fact that you have a problem with it instead of addressing it, right? Slow it down. You'll figure these things out as you progress, right? Especially when I have somebody that's coming from here and they're pulling back. When they lack a lot of stability in the hip, they're actually going to just collapse through this really, really quick. Glute's not firing like it needs to. The glute and hip in that position, right? When I'm here, this hip, right? And I'll show it this way. This hip and glute are really, really tight. And they're the ones creating that stability. Coming back through this knee, this is going to be flexing, right? Coming back down, okay? So I'll usually notice somebody that's struggling with that. Not only is it a strength and stability issue, but a lot of times it's a mobility issue. Because they're really, really tight and that joint isn't as mobile as it needs to be, they can't quite tap into the level of strength or stability that they need to make sure that that movement happens and they have the full control over it, versus they're just simply moving through it and collapsing. Same thing when we look at people that do pistol squats. Sometimes you'll see it and they can do it, but they'll just literally slam to the floor and try and thrust their weight up. They're wanting to use momentum because the truth is they're literally just falling through a certain midpoint of that movement. We want to address that here so that that's not the case, especially if my knee is coming to the ground, okay? So give that a try. Let me know what you think. If you're struggling with anything and you need more information or another video, let me know in the comment section below. If there's anything else that you want to see as well, please let me know. I'll definitely get that content out to you. It might take me a week or so, but I will make sure that I get that video for you guys. If you like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with this video and all the other videos and content that I pump out there, please hit the subscribe button for me. And thanks so much for watching.